I grew up ashamed of my own mother. Not because she was a bad woman, but because the world made me believe that cleaning other people's floors was something to be embarrassed about. My mother worked as a maid for over 20 years. Every morning before the sun rose, I'd hear her dragging her old cleaning bucket down the road. Her hands were always cracked, her clothes smelled of bleach, and her back was permanently bent from years of scrubbing floors that never belonged to her. But she never complained. She always said the same thing. Son, one day they'll see that dignity isn't about what job you do, but how you do it. At school I was the maid's son. The rich kids called me broom boy. They'd laugh, whisper, and even mimic her, pretending to scrub the floor whenever I walked by. Sometimes even teachers looked down on me thinking I wouldn't go far. But the worst humiliation came from one family, the Harrisons. My mom worked for them for nearly a decade. They had money, a big house, and zero respect for anyone poor. Mrs. Harrison treated my mother like dirt. She'd yell at her in front of guests, insult her cooking, even make her eat in the kitchen after everyone else had finished. Once, I visited her at work after school. Mrs. Harrison looked me up and down and said, "So this is your son? Hopefully he won't end up cleaning floors like you." I wanted to disappear. My mother forced a smile and said softly, "As long as he's honest, I'll be proud." That night she came home quiet, but I heard her crying in her room. That was the first time I swore to myself, I'd make her proud one day. Years went by. She kept working, saving every coin she could. I got a scholarship, finished college, and landed a small job in finance. I told her to quit cleaning, but she refused. "Not yet, son. I'm saving for something. You'll understand soon." I thought she meant retirement. I had no idea what she was really planning. Then one day everything changed. Mrs. Harrison's husband went bankrupt after some shady business deal. They lost their house and almost everything they owned. They had to sell their mansion, the same one my mother had cleaned for years. The apartment complex where my mom was still working was being redeveloped into luxury condos. The owner, an older man named Mr. Bennett, adored my mother for her honesty. She'd once returned an envelope full of cash that he'd accidentally dropped. Before he passed away, he called her into his office and said, "Clara, people like you deserve more than the world gives. I can't pay you back for your kindness, but I can give you this." He handed her the ownership papers to one of the brand-new penthouse apartments, worth over $1 million, and said she only had to pay $1 to make it legally hers. She thought it was a prank, until she signed the documents. My mother, the maid everyone mocked, had just become the owner of a $1 million apartment overlooking the city skyline. When we moved in, the neighbors couldn't believe it. Some of them even thought she was the cleaner again until they realized she owned the place. But the biggest shock came a few months later when the Harrisons, the same people who humiliated her, came knocking on her door looking for a job as caretakers in the same building. When Mrs. Harrison saw my mother open the door, her face went pale. She stammered, "Clara, is this your apartment?" My mother smiled calmly. "Yes. I clean here too sometimes, but now only when I feel like it." Mrs. Harrison's lips trembled. She whispered, I didn't mean the things I said years ago." My mother looked at her and said gently, "Don't worry. I forgave you a long time ago. You taught me something I'll never forget, that true worth doesn't come from money or titles. It comes from character." She didn't brag. She didn't mock them back. She just offered them tea, in her $1 million living room. That night as we stood on the balcony, I asked her, "Mom, how does it feel to have everything now?" She smiled and said, "Son, I don't have everything. I just have peace. And that's worth more than $1 million. Moral lessons. Never look down on anyone who works hard. You never know who life will lift tomorrow. Real class is not about wealth. It's about respect and humility. What people mock you for today might be the very thing that blesses you tomorrow. Kindness always returns, sometimes with interest. Peace and integrity are the highest forms of revenge. If this story touched you, please don't forget to leave a like, share and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of our stories. Thanks for watching.